Nobody is born a man. Becoming a man is an achievement, and not all boys have what it takes. Yet, mainstream society is almost devoid of any guide on how to get there. There are plenty of resources on the internet for those of us who wish to find them, but we have no culture of turning boys into the real men God intended us to be. Whenever men dare to stand up and demand respect and for their rights, people protest, sometimes even violently. The media demonizes men as rapists and wife beaters. They decry masculine men for their toxic masculinity.
What's toxic masculinity, Maddie?
That's what feminists call men who want to be real men. You know, men who like the footy, bloke talk, and refuse to lie down in the face of feminist bullying.
Yeah, his farts are toxic as hell.
Bloody hell, short bus. The mainstream media put up the ideal man as tall, good-looking to the point of absurdity, successful, and almost always rich. Oh, and of course they are sensitive and in touch with their feminine side. But is this really what it means to be a true man? As a society, we've lost touch with our masculine side. We need to reconnect with the woodcutting, house building, nation defending, family raising, community leading, generous, strong, confident, and unashamed male. It's time we learn once again how to be real men. Throughout history, the male rite of passage has been a core part of many, if not most, societies. Ancient Spartan boys left their families at 7 years old and trained as soldiers until they were 18, upon which they completed the Cryptia. He'd be sent out into the countryside with only a knife and was expected to kill as many state-owned slaves, called heliots, as possible without being detected. Boys of the Satir Maui tribe in the Brazilian Amazon have a glove woven with bullet ants placed on their hands. They are expected to withstand the ant stings, one of the most painful stings in the world, for 10 minutes without making a sound. The pain is said to last for over 24 hours after and results in uncontrollable shaking. Worse, many boys need to do it several times in order to be considered manly enough for the tribe. The men of Vanuatu jump off flimsy wooden towers with vines strapped around their legs in a bungee jump on steroids known as land diving. Boys as young as 5 complete the ritual, with the manliest men the ones who can jump from the highest point. The West not only has no such ritual, but Western boys are consistently shamed and derided for their masculinity. Rites of passage rituals give boys a clear goal to aim towards. By passing it, they earn the title of man. One could argue this used to be finding a nice woman, settling down and having children, but the institution of marriage has been all but destroyed by regressive leftist forces over the last 60 years. No-fault divorce means a woman can cheat on her man, divorce him, take his kids, and he still needs to give her half the wealth he earned, plus child support. It's no wonder men are checking out of marriage in their millions, and we have the rise of, albeit misguided, movements like MGTOW. Men need a rite of passage. Men need to feel invested in society and that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. Men need to be respected and appreciated by society, and when you take it away from us, that leaves us destitute and aimless. What's the point of living in a civilization that doesn't even want you? Where's the reward in that? Women run state-funded schools, they tailor classes to the needs of girls, girls are encouraged to excel and told to be strong women, while they reprimand boys simply for being boisterous and energetic. When men are cast aside, as they have been in Western nations, it's a recipe for societal destruction. A man needs a goal and a purpose in life that's bigger than himself, as I mentioned, whether it's raising a family, starting and growing a business, or leading a movement. A man selflessly sacrifices for those around him. A man is always looking to improve himself and the world in which he lives with truth and honesty, not maliciousness or lust for mere power and wealth. As humans evolved, each gender developed clearly assigned roles designed to improve the chances of a tribe's survival. For women, that role was caring for children and acting as the societal glue that kept the tribe together. For men, it was venturing into the unknown to hunt prey, provide resources for the tribe, and defend the borders. You can see these roles played out by our closest relatives, chimpanzees. Males patrol and hunt, while females care for the young. This desire to protect the group and territory is inherently and deeply masculine. It's no coincidence that allowing women to vote has seen ethnic replacement via multiculturalism and forced wealth redistribution via the state, otherwise known as welfare. When women can marry the state, who in turn simply steals the wealth of men, what use are individual men to individual women? Indeed, the state needs men for tax cattle, but there is no meaning in that. Especially when the state acts entirely against your interests and the interests of your progeny. A real man is a leader. He is quietly confident in himself and knows his own worth. He is the head of the household. His family and those around him respect him because he makes appropriate sacrifices for future gains. It is an inherently masculine trait to build, save, and prepare for the future. Go to any shopping centre and notice how many shops are tailored for men and how many for women. Men invest and save for the future. Women spend, spend, and spend. You know it's true, girls. Don't deny it. Saving, investment, hard work, ingenuity, and sacrifice built our civilization. Countless men have spent thousands and thousands of hours and days designing and building the great buildings and writing the great books. We laid down our lives by the millions to protect women and children from tyranny. Only through these sacrifices are we able to enjoy the relative heaven that we do enjoy now. It wasn't through some misguided altruism or racist doctrines of multiculturalism that got us to where we are today. It was the sacrifices of countless men over millennia.
But how come the ladies on TV always say men are in charge of everything? They always talk about the evil, bad patriarchy.
Yes, short bus, we're getting to that.
Can you make it quick? Nick's baked a cake and said that we can't eat it until the video is finished.
Really? What a pig. Men are up against it in the West right now. Recently, a march for men took place in my hometown, Melbourne. The march was nothing more than a chance for men to stand up for themselves in a society that demonises masculinity at every chance. It was a peaceful rally, organised by a woman living in Melbourne with one of those weird Yankee Aussie accents.
Hello, my name is Sydney and welcome to the internet. Many of you know, many of you might not know, that on the 25th of August, last Saturday, in Melbourne, we had the March for Men, which was, I think, a really good day and turned out to be a really, really great event.
Honestly, Sydney, what is that?
Stop teasing, Maddie. She can't help it.
Yeah, that's true. The real question is, does she pronounce it footy or football? Anyway, you'd think a peaceful march for men would be fairly innocuous, right? Apparently not, according to the left, who organised a counter-protest. This is the kind of opposition men face when they dare to stand up to the matriarchy. The moment these left-wing thugs heard about a march for the gender that isn't female, they got their knickers in a knot. Here's what they had to say. The March for Men Australia has been called by two far-right Melbourne personalities, Sydney Watson and Avi Yemini. They have called the rally to remind men that it is okay to be masculine. Globally, men's rights activists have operated as a gateway drug for the alt-right. Their campaigns seek to enforce rigid gender norms, sexist stereotypes, and violence towards women. In Australia, new groups such as the Proud Boys have been established, which celebrate rape and decry women's equality. These are worrying trends. You see, because all men are like rapists and stuff, men standing up for ourselves means we want to rape everyone and oppress the women's. There is a silver lining, however. Across the world, there are growing far-right movements. Sexism and misogyny are key to these movements. In Australia, these tendencies are starting to develop a base. It is vital that a counter-narrative is publicly maintained. While Watson and Yemini try and present their attitudes as apolitical and inoffensive, it is important to demonstrate where the logic of their movements head. That's right. There is a growing backlash against just this kind of leftist bullying, and they know it. This is why they are getting ever more shrill and violent. This is why they call a peaceful march for men sexist and misogynist. They have no counter-arguments. They have no reason to be against them other than the fact that this is a worldwide movement and it is growing and it threatens the matriarchy. As for the idiots who claim the patriarchy rules everything, what kind of patriarchy designs a system where men have their wealth forcibly removed by the state, borders are non-existent, and their lives are destroyed by family courts? A system that allows idiots like Lisa Wilkinson to get paid millions of dollars to call all men rapists. Men build civilizations. Do you honestly think that we are that bloody incompetent and stupid? Well, baby boomers are that stupid. Yeah, worst generation ever. To learn who rules you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. One thing all boys need to learn as they grow is that women do not respect weakness. They will never respect a man who does not respect himself. A man who lets his woman walk all over him will soon find himself either without a woman or raising the children of another man without realizing it. The courts often won't punish her for this transgression either, but that's another story. To be a man, you need to be the dominant member of the household and to lead it. To do that, you need to stand up to the women in your life. You need to learn how to say no and that nature built you to be in charge. That does not mean you are abusive or treat women with disrespect. It just means you know your value and your worth and you assert it without shame. Women are not above criticism. It is not sexist to call out the disgusting treatment of men in our society in the name of feminism and equality. In fact, attacking men for doing this is clear misandry. A man says what he thinks, does what he says, knows what he wants, knows where he's going, tells the truth, protects what he values, stands up to his enemies, and never ever says sorry for it. I'm Maddie, and I'll see ya when I see ya.
Best cake ever, Neeks. Why haven't you got a husband pig yet? Yeah, that's true. Not enough men are pigs.
They're racist, they're sexist, they're homophobic. Racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.